Hello and welcome to another Demis Helen tutorial. Today I bring you Stranger Things theme and the second part over here, which is Kids, the second in the soundtrack. If you're not familiar with Stranger Things, head over to Netflix and have a watch. You'll be instantly hooked if you're into that sort of thing. For those that do know what this is, I'm going to show you how I've done it using the TAL UNO LX or whatever it's called. Unfortunately, I was going to record this video and get it up a lot earlier, but due to my copy of the UNO LX being unregistered for whatever reason, I can't re-register it. So I'm just in the process of talks at the moment. I had to remake the entire thing because it just reset it to an original patch. So I'm just going to show you how I got to where I am now. So let's have a look at the main theme. So here we are. You can see PWM is up there, but it's not actually doing anything. So we're using a saw wave and the sub square, and then I've just got the sub nearly turned up full. No noise on this particular thing. I think there is a little bit of noise on it, so just to make it a bit brighter. There is unprecedented use of this filter throughout the main piece. So that's just set up there to standard kind of cut off there. Then we've got the envelope just plucking through using the ASDR filter here, which then moves on to envelope, as you can see there, and then a nice steady fall off from the middle section. And then I've got chorus 1 on. Chorus 2's a little bit too much on its own, and then it's just way overkill on both of them. It's not exactly what the sound is. And that's the closest I can get to that sound just off the top of my head. Obviously there is no analog aspect to it, which the original theme has, so we could emulate that later on using some plugins and stuff, so I might do that in a later video just to show you how you go about that. So that's the main theme. Then we have the kind of background bass, and this is the closest I can get. It doesn't sound as warm, but we can obviously edit that in a later date. So we've got the PWM, we've got it set up to LFO up here, and then we've got the square and the saw, and then we've got the sub square, got that turned up a bit, that's up slightly, and then the filter is organised kind of low down with the resonance high, and that's tied into how the envelope's working here. It's actually plucking through and giving it a nice resonant upper part to it, so it makes it really defined. And obviously this envelope's being controlled by the ASDR filter here, and as you can see from there, nice strong decay, bit less of a sustain on it, and then just a very, very short release. Both choruses on, the rate's on, but to be fair, it's not really needed. It just gives it a bit of movement if you can hear it, as the keyboard slider is connected to here. And then that's it. That's all we've done there, just increase the level there. There is a bit of after processing, but I will show you after. And then that's supported by a sub bass, which is now not sub. This is in oh, it is. It's not a full sub bass, so that's just from massive there. The resonance kick, which is very iconic for here. All I did was load an oscillator preset. I'm not entirely sure because it's not opened up there, but I loaded this one. Pitch envelope, because the entire thing is a C minor chord. It's been pitched to the notes of the C minor, so C and E. So we've got C at the beginning, then it goes to an E, then you can see a G, which is C, E, G, and then it ends on a D sharp for some reason. That should be an E. So we're using the notes of that C major chord, which if you just do the simplified 3-note version, that is a C, E and G, and then the rest of the melody here, that's using C, E, G, B, C, and it's just up and then back down, up and back down. So I'll just show you that there. I don't know why I'm not showing you. So there you go, it's going up, so it's the C, E, G, B, A, C, C, B, G, E, C. So you kind of get this. And that, all in all as well, can be done also the standard way, the way it will have been done. If we go to the arpeggiator, off, sync to the tempo, hold, so it holds once you've pressed all the notes, and we want up and down, and we only want it on 1 octave, and we've got it on 1 octave there. If I press all those notes, there's that theme straight away. I've put it up on quite a higher octave there. If I actually just drop that octave 2, if my keyboard will allow me, and there it is. That's how it will have originally been done, but I decided to program it in because it's not really that great when you're trying to actually compose it. You need to actually see it. Well, I do anyway. So as you can see, we're using the filter on that arpeggio, and just to kind of emulate how the track starts. And then finally, we do have a support one down here. I am still working on it. It's a background sound that you hear right at the very beginning. I'm not quite there with that, but we've got the main elements. And then we have this bright synth here, which is not ultimately too bright right now, but that's how that bit goes. It kind of has this down, 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 down bass line, but we're just going to keep it simple and just go with the main part of the theme. That bright synth, if we look into it, so it goes G, C, which is also part of the C minor. They're all the notes used, and I've just put quite a long release on there, so it goes that, and then it goes C, G, E, G. I've split them up, so I've taken the E from down here and transposed it up 1, and then just replicated the first note, which is how it nearly sounds to me in my ears. So you'll have to take a look at the original theme. I don't want to put it in here for copyright reasons, but you can easily find it on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, it's everywhere. Find it wherever you find music. And that bright synth is a PWM. We've got it set to envelope, then we've got a square and a sort and a square sub. We've got sub fully up, we've got the noise up to give it that bright twinge. I've cut off some of the bass using the high pass filter, and then we've got this set up if we need it, but we're not using it. Envelope is up, and it's using the ASDR to obviously give a really strong decay, really strong sustain, and then quite a strong release, so it lasts for a while. And both choruses are on to give it a nice wide depth, and that is really all they had control over back then when they was using these synths. So it's quite amazing how they actually did it before all this stuff kind of existed, and then to have this just obviously in a plugin. You might not be getting the analog aspect, but we can recreate it using some presets, but I'm yet to just purchase a few presets so we can have a look through and see how we can make it feel more analog. We'll finally just jump into the mixer for this bit. So with the kick, I've just chopped off some of the bottom end because there's not much weight in it, and then I've just emphasised some of the frequencies here to help it click. So the main theme is just, I've put a little bit of reverb on, but as you can see the mix is onto 2, so it's very, 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 very faint. I was just messing around with that. And we've got a bit of cut off on here, so we're not getting too much of the bass through. I've just cut out this upper mid section here and brightened it up a little bit there. I don't know, that just didn't sound right. It didn't seem and feel like how it should. So I've just chopped that little bit out just to emulate a bit of the original. As you can see, the bass is as it comes. I've not really done anything to that. And that bright synth there comes through here. And just wait till it comes back. I've just cut out the same mid section, rolled it off quite a lot, and then I'll probably end up brightening it like this a little bit. So you get that nice little bright feeling. And that's all I've done to the track. As you can see, just that little bit of automation on the frequency. So that is set at 166. I've got it somewhere between 165 and 170 on how they've actually composed it. Now moving on to kids, we have this estimated at 120. That's where it sounds right. So let's just have a listen. If you're not familiar, just take a look at Kids on the soundtrack. So I've done all the three elements of this track in one space to show you and demonstrate. This is the main melody. Okay, so I'm using the same bass. It might not be the same bass that's used, but it's on a similar scale. They won't have just used the JUNO 60 in there. There'll be plenty of other things that they use. But the main melody, I think I derived from a preset, yep, space harp, and it's just tweaked a little bit. I've set it to envelope down here. I'm sure it was set to LFO, can't remember. So we've got the PWM, we've got all the oscillators working here, we've got the sub halfway because I felt like it needed a bit of under depth there. The resonance is quite high, the frequency is not quite at the top, and then the envelope is being controlled here to kind of give it that bright feeling. So if we take this away, sorry, only works when it's lower down. So you could still get that bright feeling through. It's letting it pluck through just that little bit, but that's not what we're using it for. And you can see that it's got a mild decay, sustain and release. They're all quite very level. Sustain's just a little bit lower because I give a little bit too much resonance, constantly humming as these notes were so close together, because it's got to be quite malleable with how it changes, because you've got this kind of back and forth, and then you've got half the speed, and then you've got the main melody, which I can't even remember, just off. So we'll have a look. So here's the main melody. That's all it is, back and forth from A sharp to G and then F. So you just kind of got this G, A, F, A, G, A, F, A. That's all it is. And then the second melody is the same but half the speed. And it's amazing how different what different vibe they give off when you play them side by side. Because it flows differently with the bass, that's staying the same on the top. Or underlying, should we say, it's just on the top in this project. And then the main melody here is this kind of, and then it's the same thing but on the very last note, goes from an A sharp to a G to bring it back down to level. And the last thing we have here is a bass line, which I've actually done in Hive. We could do in any synth. I just picked Hive because it's pretty good straight off the mark with the sub frequencies on the standard oscillator. So you do hear this sound. Obviously it won't have been done on Hive, it'll have been done on an original synth, but to emulate that, I've done it through Hive, and as you can see, all I have done to it is kept it on the saw wave, one unison, not changed anything here, nothing at all, nothing here, nothing at all. All I've done is turn the cutoff down, and I've clicked on sub 1 to bring the sub frequencies through as well. just tweaked the amp here, so the SDR here, and then I just put a bit of distortion on, and that is all that sound is. So if we strip it back, we'll play it and then just take the distortion off. So it's just there to boost that kind of growl that there is there, which just helped to emulate a little bit of the analog sound. Cut off is set there because that's where it sits in the soundtrack to me, and that's literally it. All there is extra on there is the Le Petit Excite plugin, which is one of my favourite for stuff like this. Let's just actually click on there. Sorry, I've got a bit of a wonky desk here. Right, so I've turned the low up and the high up a bit. We can put noise floor on, which adds a bit of hum back into it, just so we get that. And I've just increased the input a little bit so we get a nice high volume. If we just take that off, it does make it feel like a little bit more analogy, just having that on there, because it's designed to kind of do that a little bit. But like I say, we'll go through some nice tape saturators and stuff like that. I think I'll go through and buy a few, even the free ones might do. We'll go through that and we'll see if we can achieve that lovely analog effect. But for now, that is the end of the tutorial. I'm just going to set this back to 166. And so that is the tutorial for Stranger Things. I really do hope you found that useful, because I enjoyed thoroughly making these synths. If you so wish to do so, once I've got it sorted, I will make presets for you and I'll put them in the description below for download. You just not might see them straight away till I've got this issue resolved with the unregistered thing. Once that's solved, you can have them. So thank you for watching. Give us a like, thumbs up if you actually like the video, and drop me a comment. Let's see what you want to see next. And that's it. Thank you.